Hi, everyone. It's Brian Lisenby from Lisenby Immigration Law, and I'm excited to chat with everyone today, mainly because the new fee proposal from USCIS is an interesting topic. It's something that everyone wants to react to, and I think the initial reaction for most immigration attorneys, for most people who are affected by fee increases, is they're charging me more money, and that's never a fun thing. That's never something we really want to do or deal with. And so it's important to read through these proposals and really understand what they're proposing so that you can have an informed opinion about it, and so that you're able to comment with a little bit of knowledge behind your comments. Anyways, I'll be talking about the fee changes and some of the things I'm going to do in my comment. But if you don't have time to watch my whole video, I have provided a link to the actual fee proposal change from USCIS in the regulations below. And if you'll click on that link, you can also leave your own comment. And so there is a way for you to become involved and make your opinion known. And I think that's really important, because it's super important that when these decision makers, these government agencies, are implementing changes and trying to improve their processes, that practitioners such as attorneys or petitioners such as businesses, individuals, family members, schools, organizations, farmers, it's important they get involved and that their voices are heard. So please let your voice be heard. Let them know how you feel about these fee changes. Without further ado, I will go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to be discussing these in more detail. So here we go. Proposed fee increases, USCIS. Perfect. So the Department of Homeland Security has proposed some adjustments to the USCIS fee schedule. What is the fee schedule? Basically, the fee schedule shows the amount of money that will be charged for different immigration benefit requests. So basically, if someone is getting a visa or trying to become a permanent resident or having the conditions removed from their green card, naturalizing, etc., those things cost money. And the fee schedule is basically a list of how much each of those processes in the immigration system cost through USCIS. Why does USCIS need fees, and why do they change their fee schedule? Well, basically, USCIS is funded by fees. I think they said most recently that 96% of their organization is completely funded by fees. So all the individuals that work for USCIS, what they're paid with, what they feed their family with, is based on fees. So they need money to operate, basically. Not all government agencies operate that way, but USCIS is one that does. The fees fund the cost of fairly and efficiently adjudicating immigration benefit requests. Now, that's debatable depending on who you talk to, but USCIS proposes that when they increase their fees, they're able to more fairly and efficiently get things done. And yes, more money does allow them to do more things and process more things fairly. And hopefully that is the outcome. And I want to believe that is the case. They're able to improve their policy, their staffing levels, their costs, their resource usage, training. Hopefully that's true as well. We really hope if they do implement some fee changes, that some of the processes change and their resources are used more efficiently. We all would love that. Please make e-filing more efficient. That is super important, and we would love to be able to trust that when we put information into the computer, that is going to be relayed accurately to the person adjudicating petitions. That would be amazing, and that would be huge. And if we could decrease processing times, that'd be amazing. So hopefully that's an outcome of this, and hopefully that does happen. And another reason is they say they can improve their customer service. And anyone that has ever rang USCIS, you want to improve customer service, trust me. And those of you who know what I'm talking about, you've dealt with that. There are definitely some improvements that need to be made. Okay, so the proposed fee schedule represents a 40% overall weighted average increase. That is crazy to me. So I thought that was really high. that they were willing to increase their fees by that amount. And some of the fees that they proposed to increase, the fee increases are astronomical. I was really shocked by some of the proposed increases, whereas a lot of the other increases were really fair, I felt, and really understandable. And some things I've felt in the past probably should be charged for, and they haven't been historically. So it's kind of interesting to see where they're making these changes. And there's things to agree with, things to disagree with. You should read the rule to form your own opinion. But a 40% overall weighted average increase is huge. And do understand they haven't adjusted their fees since 2016, but even with inflation, most people didn't double their salaries in the last 6 years. So a 40% overall weighted average increase, huge increase to the cost of these different filings and different petition types at USCIS. Fee increases, I suggest speaking out against, and every person you talk to is going to have different opinions about this. There's a lot of things that you could speak out against. There's a lot of things you could support and offer that support to USCIS as well. These are just some things I noted that I'm going to be addressing in my own comment. And for one, L1 petition fee increases to $1,385 from $460, 201% increase. I think that's really high. More than doubling the fee for L1s is a barrier to gain L1 employees into the United States. They're proposing an asylum program fee to all I-129 filings. So that would be included on these L1 fees because that's an I-12 form. So really they're proposing to increase the fee by $1,885, $985. Huge, right? Adding $600 to all these I-129 filings is crazy because there's a lot of different I-129 filings. That's going to impose a burden on especially small businesses. And I've long felt that big businesses have greater access to the U.S. immigration system because they can afford to hire an attorney. They can afford to pay the fees for immigrants coming from abroad. And small businesses oftentimes are a lot more skeptical of getting involved in that because one, they haven't experienced it because they didn't have the volume to experience it before. And two, it's expensive. And really adding these additional fees could create more barriers. They propose to lengthen premium processing time from 15 calendar days to 15 business days. They're charging $2,500 extra for people to get something adjudicated in 15 business days as opposed to their regular processing times, which honestly should be faster anyways right now. But extending that to 15 business days versus 15 calendar days really seems kind of seems silly to me. If you're going to charge a premium for a service, you may as well just do it really quickly. So I wasn't a huge fan of that. The increased fee for the I-751 to remove conditions on residence. I just felt like it's a pretty straightforward petition. The person's already provided a lot of evidence when they submit their green card application. There really isn't a big reason, I think, to increase the fee there, especially by that amount. And a lot of these people in these marriage-based applications, if they have conditions on them, it's because they haven't been married very long. So we're usually talking about younger folks or just people who haven't been married too long. So they might not have the fees. They might not have the resources to pay these increased fees. I thought that was a little egregious, especially on top of all the other proposed fee increases for the I-485 application to adjust permanent resident status. There were various fee increases proposed to the I-485. I suggest you just get on and look at those. That was an area I thought they could really make some changes when they issue the final changes to these proposed fees. Definitely worth looking at. They are also in the past, the I-131 and the I-765 that are filed concurrently with your green card application or filed with a green card application that is pending. Those have been free to file. An I-131 is an advanced parole, which is a travel permit. I-765 is a work permit or an employment authorization document, an EAD application. Adding those additional fees in some ways makes sense to me. I think it's okay to add those additional fees, but if you're going to raise the price of everything else, I just didn't necessarily see the benefit fully for all the rising costs of getting a green card. Um, Reducing fees for e-filings compared to paper filings for many application types, that just bothered me mostly because right now USCIS's system in place, their e-filing system is really buggy. It doesn't work very good. A lot of lawyers have issues with it, mainly because you'll put information in and you'll submit it, and then they'll say you're missing that information. It's because their system deleted it or it doesn't go through. If we're going to reduce fees for e-filings, then really the system needs to work. If we're going to give someone a benefit to file through a computer, then it should work, because you're going to end up getting more e-filings, which is going to increase USCIS's burdens if they're not getting the information they're asking for in their forms because their system doesn't work. So I don't think incentivizing e-filing is good until their system is improved and actually works. And so that was my biggest issue with that. The other issue I've heard other people raise has been that a lot of people in the United States who would utilize the e-filing system maybe lower income, and so they don't, because they don't know how to use a computer or they don't have access to a computer, so they're paper filing. So we're going to be charging people with less resources more to file paper filings, which also didn't sound too pleasing to me. I don't necessarily know what the full impact of that is and how many people that will impact, but um, if that's the case, we really should reconsider incentivizing e-filings over paper filings. Maybe charging the same. I know it costs more for USCIS to process paper filings because they put all that paper on a truck, ship it to a facility. Eventually, some of it's turned into toilet paper, out of their own words. It's just kind of crazy to me. So let's make e-filings more efficient, USCIS. I also have concerns with USCIS wasting resources. I don't think they're very efficient now. So it really bothers me that it costs so much money to file a petition such as an EAD, which is a really simple petition to put together and really should be even easier for them to look at. And according to USCIS, it takes them 12 minutes to review an EAD. If that's the case, then where's all this money going? I really think USCIS could be a lot more efficient and charge the same amount and get a lot more done. Honestly, that's just my opinion. There's been a lot of RFEs issued the last couple of years. Or an RFE is a request for additional evidence from USCIS, NOIDs, notice of intent to deny, that in a lot of cases have been kind of frivolous or seem frivolous, or they'll also issue RFEs in a lot of cases because someone filed at the wrong address, or they didn't file with all the pages for a document, or in some cases they were issuing RFEs and denials for not including all the pages that weren't actually required for the petition being filed, that you didn't fill out, but they wanted you to have them in there. So if we're gonna waste our time being silly by not issuing a decision because someone didn't put NA in a fillable box, then we really should consider becoming more efficient before we consider fee increases. And obviously, that's just my opinion. But I think it's really, really important to look at your processes and your procedures along with your fees. If you need more money because you're not able to do what you need to do, maybe part of the problem is the way you're doing things. Another issue I had was just with H2As. So I didn't necessarily mind fee increases for H2As. The amount of the increase seemed like a lot because H2As are for agricultural workers, and I don't think there's as much money. Obviously, there is in big ag. There's a lot of money, but you don't want to discourage family farmers with smaller operations from hiring these employees. Specifically, though, the thing that kind of seemed at issue to me was they're proposing a fee increase specifically for naming of beneficiaries on an I-129. And those are for H-2A employees that are already in the US. And so if we're going to discourage hiring H-2A employees who are already in the US just moving from company to company, then it could result in discriminatory practices from employers. It could cause employees to kind of be stuck with bad employers and not have them as movable in the country, which could really impact the way our food is grown, processed, and ultimately how much food costs in the United States. So I have some worries with that as well. There were some other things I thought had issues with them, but in general, these were some of the things I decided I would probably write a comment on. You should read the proposed rule yourself and formulate your own opinion. There were also some positive reforms, and there were more than this. There was a lot of things I really was like, yeah, that makes sense. I didn't write those here. But yeah, there were some positive reforms that I really look forward to with fee increases. One, if e-filing works better, that's a dream come true for people. Also, I thought the increases to naturalization seemed fair, reasonable. I've thought in the past that maybe the fee for naturalization would be increased soon just because it seemed really cheap compared to other processes. So that made sense to me. And obviously, whenever money is being put into a government program and it's allowing us to perform more humanitarian programs or fund more humanitarian efforts, I think that's great. And increasing funding for asylum and helping people who are really, really in a hard place, I'm all for that. Let's work towards that better goal. Just let's clean up some of the other issues we have as well as we move in that direction. So what happens after the public comment period? So right now we're in the public comment period. USCIS provided notice, or the Department of Homeland Security provided notice that there's a proposed fee change to USCIS's fee schedule. Now we're in the comment period. So what happens after this period is over and we've been allowed a time to comment on it, on the proposed rule? Well, it's a proposal really only, and it doesn't take effect until it clears a federal review process that takes a long time. And if there's more comments, it takes even longer. So in some ways you can, I guess the term we could use is, if everyone in the US comments on these proposed rules, then we could filibuster, which really isn't the case or the proper term, but we could delay things. I'm not saying we need to do that, but they're going to review these comments. Then the agency decides whether to publish the proposed rule without any changes, whether they should adopt certain comments, whether they should amend the proposed changes, and whether or not to publish the rule at all, terminate rulemaking. So they go through a decision-making process on their own and eventually issue these regulations. My opinion, what are some other things the US government should do? What should the Department of Homeland Security propose along with these fee proposal increases? Decrease cost by increasing efficiency. Nothing more to be said there. Let's do it. Improve processing times for non-immigrant and immigrant visa processes. So I'm really passionate about that because I think one of the things that's happened with USCIS is because of these lengthy adjudication times with the perm labor certification process, with the I-140 process, with the I-129, with the I-485, it's led to people trying to make other decisions and file in using processes they normally wouldn't file. So like a lot of clients have decided to file EB-2 national interest waivers or EB-1 petitions that they normally wouldn't file. And that's putting a burden on USCIS because they aren't reviewing things in a timely manner and getting these other processes done. People are taking these other steps that they're maybe not as qualified for, and it's just clogging up the system. So it's a lot more for someone to review an EB-1 extraordinary person of extraordinary alien of extraordinary ability a petition than it is for somebody to review an EB-2 employer-based green card petition, for example. So let's improve processing times. And I know a lot of the delays happen because of COVID. No one could avoid that. But let's get it back to where it was, and let's get the machine running a lot more smoothly. They can improve their staff's training. They could avoid issuing frivolous RFEs, noids, and denials. And I think that happens with better training and better understanding of the law and the regulations they themselves publish. Increasing the availability of e-filing and making it work more efficiently. Expanding premium processing to other processes. And one everyone is very passionate about is gain it for the EAD because EAD processing times are egregious. They're very long and people need work permits. So premium processing might provide a solution to that. And then I just think small businesses in general already avoid immigration because of high costs. It creates a barrier to their immigration program. So increasing fees might make those barriers even more difficult. So maybe incentivizing small businesses in some way to use USCIS, maybe providing some type of decrease in fees for businesses below a certain number of employees could be a way to incentivize their use of the immigration services, which could benefit them and benefit the U.S. government because they get more in fees. So how do you comment? And what are some of the best practices when you comment? What should you do? What should you post about? What should you write about to this agency? Well, one, don't forget to comment. I think that's really important. If you have an opinion about this, you should get involved. I remember in high school and in college thinking, how do I get involved in government? How do I get involved in where it matters? And this is where it matters. These agencies actually basically run our country. A lot of these, we get really passionate about presidential campaigns, but these agencies have just as big of an impact on what a lot of people do and deal with as the president does in reality. So don't forget to get involved in these type of changes. So don't forget to comment, or you should read and understand the regulatory document that you're commenting on. You should be concise in your words, keep it simple. Ask questions. There's nothing wrong with asking these agencies for questions. They'll consider those questions when they make their final ruling. And then supporting your claims through your experience, through empirical data, etc. Go ahead and just make a good argument. Everything you learned about having a good argument in school, use those same practices when you're commenting. I don't think it's worth your time to get on and say things like USCIS fee increases are stupid. Like, that's just a waste of everybody's time. We don't need to do that. But getting on there, having a legitimate reason why you're frustrated by the fee increases or why you agree with the fee increases, those types of things are really helpful. So, for example, I heard someone say that they represented schools at big universities, and the big universities were frustrated by the proposed fee increases to the O1 visa petition because it's going to limit their ability to hire O1s who are really impressive people, but they don't always have the funding to hire these folks into their colleges, and increasing the fees is going to limit their ability to do that. That's if you're a school, that's great. Get on, comment, because it's going to impact you. Or vice versa, if you don't like immigration, you could get on and comment why you agree with all these fee increases. You could say something like, I'm really passionate about not having people come into the US, and I'm skeptical of the H-1B visa for these reasons. I'm having a hard time thinking of those reasons off the top of my head. And then you can say something like, that's why I oppose the fee changes. Or that's why I agree with the fee changes, and you should increase them more. That's definitely not the position I'm taking, but I definitely have some friends and some people I know that would take that stance, and you should be involved too. Everyone should be involved. Everyone has opinion. Everyone's opinion is going to be different, and they want everyone's opinions. So get on, post your opinion, share your opinion. Do remember that USCIS provides a way for legal immigration, so we're not talking about illegal immigration here, but get on, post a comment, leave a comment. The agency will review them, and I think it's super important that you get involved. Again, you deserve to be heard. I will leave a link in below this video that tells you how you can get involved. It'll link you right to the proposed fee change, along with a place for you to leave a comment regarding the proposed fee change. You have until March 6, 2023 at 11:59 Eastern to voice your opinion. So we've got some time. You've got more than a month to post a comment. If you need help coming up with a comment, you can reach out. My website's lisenbyimmigrationlaw.com. there's a way to contact me listed on that website. Go ahead and visit the website, and you can reach out to me directly to my law firm, and we'll get you an answer on how you can do that. As always, please like and subscribe. Also, you can leave any comments below and any suggestions you have for future videos or future content that you would like. Thanks, everyone. It was good chatting with you today. I am excited to see where these fee changes go, and I'll provide an update once things settle and once a decision is made.